Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Youth Gathering on Climate Resilience. My name is Nia Lazarus-Munnick. I'm the Supervisor of Sustainable Communities at a nonprofit in Toronto, Canada called Skills for Change, and I'm thrilled to be your facilitator for today's event. We have an exciting and insightful program ahead where we'll hear from incredible youth and environmental leaders from across North America, exchange ideas, and connect over our shared commitment to climate resilience. Before we dive in, I'd like to start by introducing the organizations that have made this gathering possible. This event was organized by Live 360 Foundation and the Commission for Environmental Cooperation. Live 360 Foundation is a Canadian charity and grassroots organization dedicated to empowering youth in marginalized communities, those on the front lines of climate change. Live 360 believes that these communities are not only experiencing the greatest impacts, but are also leading the way with innovative climate resilience solutions. Through customized training, mentorship, and coaching, Live 360 supports emerging climate leaders in developing impactful community projects. The foundation was co-founded by Lisa Cates and Darcy Higgins, who are here with us today. Their passion lies in uplifting people and ensuring that community-driven climate initiatives succeed. In the context of environmental, economic, and social connections between Canada, Mexico, and the United States, the Commission for Environmental Cooperation, or CEC, is an intergovernmental organization that fosters collaboration and public participation to protect and enhance the North American environment. By supporting sustainability initiatives across borders, the CEC ensures that environmental efforts benefit both present and future generations. So just to go over some event logistics, to help you navigate this session, if you need interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen to select your preferred language. If you think I'm speaking very slowly, it's to make sure my speech is getting interpreted properly for you. For questions, please use the Q&A box rather than the chat, because this will help us manage the discussions more effectively. And to start things off, we'd love to know where you're from. So please click the Slido link in the chat and enter your city or town, and we'll display the results in a word cloud shortly. Oh, it's already on the screen. Looks like we have mostly people. Oh, Mexico, Canada, Montreal. Great. A few cities, it looks like across America as well. Great. Thanks everyone. So moving on to the event. So Live 360 and CEC organized this gathering to create space for youth to connect, learn, and be inspired by the powerful climate resilience work happening across North America. Today, we'll be highlighting efforts in water conservation, circular economy, and environmental health, three areas where local action can make a global impact. The goal of the event is to learn about environmental challenges and solutions from different parts of North America, to understand how we are connected by land, water, and air despite borders, and to share knowledge and ideas that can strengthen our collective climate action. A perfect example of this interconnectedness is the CEC's symbol of the monarch butterfly, a species that migrates through all three of our countries and serves as a symbol of shared environmental responsibility. We are honored to have three inspiring speakers, each representing Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and each bringing unique perspectives on environmental work that centers nature, people, equity, and climate resilience. How the event is going to flow is we will first have presentations from our three speakers. Again, please use the Q&A button to ask questions. And if there's leftover time after each presentation, I will check the Q&A and ask the presenter some of your questions. After the three presentations, we will have a quick 5-minute break. And then we'll use the remaining time for participant discussion, where you'll have the chance to introduce yourself and share a question, idea, or project you're working on in your community. And we'll give you maybe 1 to 2 minutes to do that. To help us facilitate this discussion, please update your Zoom name to include your name, country, and pronouns. Now, let's get started. To ground our event, I'm honored to introduce our first speaker, Carlos Montaño from Mexico City. Carlos, an architect by profession, runs the Montaña de las Aguilas de Fuego Medicine House in the state of Mexico with his wife. Together, they share traditional medicine on various tools for healing the mind, body, and spirit. Carlos, over to you.
Hola a todos. Muchas gracias por
Hello
invitarme. Muchas
to
gracias
everybody.
a los
Thank you for
organizadores
inviting
que
me.
me
Thank you
permiten
to the
estar
organizers
aquí
who are allowing
platicando
me
con ustedes
to
el
be
día de
here
hoy.
and chatting with you today.
La charla de hoy, como joven que
Today's
todavía me
presentation,
considero, y como veo que
as
muchos
youth, that I consider myself a
me
youth,
gustaría
and I
que
consider myself very young.
al
And I would
respecto
like
de lo que
to
implican nuestras
consider
acciones
or to
y lo
think
que el momento en el que
about
estamos atravesando.
the moment that we're going
Ustedes
through right
saben
now. You know that
cómo esto que está atravesando la
like
humanidad es
what
más que una
humanity is
prueba,
going through is more than a
momento de
test.
cambio.
It's a
Tenemos que
moment
hacer
of
los
change.
cambios
We have to
y
make
creo que sabemos
changes,
que los cambios son
and we
personales.
know that the
Si ustedes
changes
están
are
acá ahora
personal.
es
If
porque
you are
esos
here
cambios los
today,
están llevando a
it's
cabo
because those
y porque
changes are
están
being carried
haciendo
out, and
lo
because
más que
you
pueden
are
para que esos
doing
cambios se vean reflejados
as much
en
as
su entorno
possible
inmediato.
so that those can
A
be
mí me toca
duplicated
hacer
in your immediate
un
environment.
enlace
I
entre lo que
am
son los
making a
pueblos
link
ancestrales
between
y
the
nuestra sociedad
ancestral
actual.
communities
Hay que
and the current
recordar
society.
que los
We have
antiguos
to remember
nómadas, que son
that
las
the
personas que habitaban el
people
territorio
who
por
lived
milenios,
in the territory
tenían
for
solucionados
millions of
los
years
problemas que
had
actualmente son
solved
los que
the
estamos enfrentando.
problems that we're facing right now.
Ellos habían logrado
They
integrar
have
su
been able
cosmovisión y
to
su vida
integrate their
en una
uh,
manera tal
life,
que
their
fluían con
condition
el universo.
in such a way that they
Ellos nos
were living with the
dejaron
universe.
mensajes, nos
They
dejaron
left
una guía
messages,
y a
they
través de
left
los
us a
años han
guide, and
sido
through the years,
ocultados muchos
they
de
have been
estos
hidden. Many of
mensajes.
them, many
Sin
of these
embargo,
messages have been
es
hidden.
tiempo y yo creo que
However,
todos
it is
ustedes se dan
time,
cuenta
and I
que
know
es
that
momento
all
de
of you
poner
are noticing
atención
that this is the
en estos
moment to pay
pequeños tres
attention
signos,
to these
no
three
solamente al
signals,
respecto de cambio climático,
not only with
al
regards to
respecto de
climate change
calendárica,
or
al
the
respecto
calendar,
de cómo
or with
entrar en
regards
armonía con
to
nosotros
how to be in
mismos
harmony
para
with
poder así
ourselves
entrar en
in
armonía
order
con el
to
resto del
be in
planeta.
harmony with the rest of the planet.
La labor que desempeño
The
acá en México
work that I do in
es
Mexico
compartir
is to
la medicina
share
del temazcal.
the
La
Temazcal
medicina del
medicine.
temazcal
The
es
medicine of the
una medicina
Temazcal
que
is a
integra
medicine that
la
integrates
sanación del cuerpo, de la
the
mente
healing
y
of
del
the
espíritu,
body and the
haciendo
mind and the
trabajos
spirit,
que
doing
pudieran ser
work
denominados actualmente
that
como
could be
psicomagia,
called
en
as
donde
psychomatic,
utilizamos los
where
elementos,
we use the
el fuego, el
elements
agua, la
in
tierra.
water, fire, earth.
Sí, por ahí había mandado algunas
I had
fotitos
sent some
en donde
photos
ahí
there.
son parte de los trabajos que
These are
hacemos
part of the
acá en
work
la
that
Casa
we carry
Medicina.
out in the medicine
Además de
house.
estos trabajos,
Besides this
hacemos
work, we
diferentes
do
caminatas en
different
donde visitamos puntos
tours
energéticos
where
de la
we
Ciudad de
visit
México, de Teotihuacán.
sites like
Eh,
Teotihuacan in Mexico.
Realmente lo que
Uh,
me gustaría
what I would like
compartirles
really
es
to share
el
with
que
you
volteen a ver
is to
la
turn
sabiduría
around
ancestral,
and look
todo lo que
the
nuestros
ancestral
abuelitos han
signs,
conservado
everything that our
es
grandparents
un
have
conocimiento que
preserved,
es
the
primordial para
knowledge which is
hacer que los
of
proyectos que
great
todos
importance
tenemos
regarding the
sean
projects that all of us have,
generen un
that
verdadero
they
impacto.
can generate a real impact.
El pasado,
Uh,
la pasada semana estuve
Last
compartiendo
week,
con
I
unos
shared
hermanitos
with
que conocemos
some
como
brothers
Huitlahuaca,
and sisters
también se les
that we know
conoce
them as
como
Tararita,
huicholes.
and we also know them as
Ellos manejan una
Huicholes.
medicina
They
que
manage
le
a
llaman el Ikuri.
medicine that
Es
they
una
call
medicina
Ikuri. This is
que
a medicine
ayuda
that
a
helps
entender el
to
cómo
understand
todos en realidad
how
somos
we
una
are,
sola
how
conciencia
we really
que se
are.
está
We are
experimentando en
one
diferentes cuerpos.
conscience, and
Esta
that has been
medicina
expressed in different
es
forms.
una
This
medicina
medicine
ancestral
is an
que forma
ancestral
parte
medicine
de otras
as part
medicinas
of
que marcan nuestros
other
abuelos,
medicines that
nos
our
ayuda a
grandparents
encontrarnos y
manage,
a
and they help
encontrar
us
muchas
to
veces
find
el propósito
many
del por qué
times the
estamos acá,
purpose of
del
why we are here,
encontrarle sentido
to
a
find
todo
a
este caos que
meaning
de repente
to
vemos
all this
afuera,
chaos that we
poder
see in
darnos
the
cuenta
outside,
que es
and to
solamente
notice that
una
this
forma
is
en la que
only a way
podemos
in
cambiar.
which we can
Estamos
change.
aquí atravesando
We are
este
here going
momento de
through this
coyuntura
moment,
y les agradezco a
and
todos su
I would
energía,
like
les
to
agradezco a
thank
todos
all of you. I would
su
like to thank you
presencia,
for your presence,
porque cada quien
because
desde su trinchera, hermanitos desde el norte hasta el
every
sur,
one of you from the
estamos
north
alineando
and the
cosas de
south,
Dios para
brothers and
cumplir una
sisters,
profecía
we are
que fue
here to
dicha hace ya mucho
to
tiempo,
meet
cuando
a
en la
prophecy
vida
that was
del norte
mentioned
se
many
encuentra
years
con el cóndor del
ago,
sur,
that when
la nueva era
the
habrá empezado.
eagle of the north
No quiero
meets
ser
the condor
muy
of the south,
esotérico,
I don't want to be very
pero está
esoteric,
dentro de todos
but
nosotros el
it's
entender
within
que
all of
nosotros
us to
viendo también
understand
está
those
nosotros.
messages that the grandparents have
Me
for us.
dispongo, estoy a sus órdenes aquí
I
en la
am
Ciudad de México
at your service in
para
Mexico
compartir
City
la
to
medicina, para
share the
compartir
medicine,
los demás
to share
conocimientos
the
ancestrales
other
que tienen nuestros
knowledge, the
abuelitos,
other ancestral
que son
knowledge that
vastos.
our grandparents have,
Y
which
pues
are
muchas gracias nuevamente a los
insufficient.
organizadores de este
Thank you
evento
to the
por permitirme
organizers
hablar,
of
por
this event for
permitirme
allowing me
comunicar
to talk,
y
to
pues
communicate,
estoy a su servicio.
and
Muchas
I'm
gracias.
at your service. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for sharing your reflections on the wonderful work that you're doing and grounding us in our event today.
Gracias.
Thank you.
We will now move on to speaker presentations. Our first speaker is Alexandre Savard from Quebec, Canada. His project is called Encre Biomatériaux, which works to find practical, nature-based solutions to replace single-use plastic parts.
Bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Alexandre Savard et je vais partager mon écran. OK. Nia, est-ce que tu pourrais confirmer si l'écran est bien partagé? Or,
Can you
Nia,
please
could you-
confirm if you can see the
All right.
can you confirm if you
Ok.
see the screen?
Bonjour tout le monde, très content d'être là ce soir.
Good morning
Comme
to
je disais,
all.
mon nom est
I'm
Alexandre
very happy
et
to be
je suis
here this
professeur
afternoon.
dans le corps
My name is
biomatériaux.
Alexandra, and
Euh,
I'm going to
D'abord, je
talk
vais parler un petit peu de
about
moi.
this project. First,
J'ai
I would like
une
to
formation
talk a little
d'ingénieur
bit about
mécanique.
me.
Donc,
I have
j'ai
my
décidé
education
d'étudier
in
dans ce
mechanical
domaine-là un peu
engineering,
pour
and I
être en
decided
mesure
to study
d'avoir un
these
impact
topics
concret, en fait, et puis de trouver
in
des
order to
solutions
be
aux
able to have a
crises
concrete impact and find
environnementales que notre
solutions,
monde vivait.
environmental
Et de mes
solutions.
études, en fait, je me suis intéressé à la pollution plastique.
From
Donc,
my
longtemps, j'avais
studies, I was
lancé
very
un
interested in
projet où on
contamination
était deux
by
étudiants, puis on a conçu
plastics.
une machine pour extraire, dans le
So
fond,
we
les
started a
microplastiques des
project with several
plages à
students,
Hawaï.
and we wanted to develop this
On a
machine
livré et
in order
donné
to
vraiment une
put the
machine à un
different
organisme qui s'appelle
pieces of
Hawaii Ocean
plastic that
Basin,
we found in the
qui,
beaches.
en fait, permettait de
So
séparer les
this machine
plastiques
has
qui
this
sortent
mechanism
sur
that will
les dépaillements.
separate the plastic.
Ensuite, j'ai travaillé beaucoup dans le recyclage du plastique et une de mes
We
réflexions, en
worked
fait,
very
a toujours
hard
été
recycling
de me dire
plastics, and one of
que
my
le recyclage, en fait,
ways of
justifiait un
thinking
peu
was to
l'utilisation
say
de
that
toutes ces matières-là,
recycling
à cause de
justifies the
ces
use of
plastiques-là.
all these materials,
Que
of
oui, on
sole use of
fait
all
quelque
these
chose de bien
plastics.
en réutilisant les matières, mais finalement, ça
And
fait en sorte
well,
que
we're doing something good because
on n'arrête pas non plus
we are
la production
reusing these
de
materials,
ces matières vieilles.
but we are not stopping
J'ai
the
aussi
production of
travaillé
this material.
rapidement quelques années dans le développement là, de
Mm,
solutions
I
pour faire de
also
l'eau potable
worked
avec l'énergie des
for
vagues.
some years
Puis à un certain
developing
point,
solutions
la
with
pollution plastique est
energy,
toujours restée un
and
peu
up to a
dans l'arrière
point,
de ma tête. Et c'est à ce moment-là que
the
j'ai décidé en fait
production of
de
plastics,
lancer un projet de
I
biomatériaux,
always kept
de
the
tenter en fait de
conservation of
trouver
plastics in my
des
ideas.
solutions alternatives
So I
aux
was always
matériaux
looking
traditionnels
for
qu'on a.
projects and trying to find
Voilà.
solutions
Rapidement,
in what refers to this
je voulais
material.
vous parler un petit peu de la situation
I would
dans
like
le monde.
to talk a little
Je
bit
suis pas mal
about
sûr que
the
tout le monde ici
situation in
est
the
au
world.
courant, mais on vit une triple crise
I don't
climatique.
know if all of you know
On a
regarding
le jour
the
du dépassement, qui
regarding
est
the
le
climate
jour où on
crisis.
consomme toutes les ressources
And
de la planète, qui l'année dernière
the
était
key
le
day,
1er août
the
2024
day
et qui
when
à
we
chaque
have
année
all
est
the
de plus en
resources
plus
from
tôt.
the planet.
Donc, c'est-à-dire
And it
qu'on
was going to be August the 1st in
extrait la matière, on
2024.
extrait
But every year
plus
we
finalement
extract the matter.
de matériaux que ce que la Terre est capable de produire.
We use
Et
more materials than what
non seulement
the
cela, mais
earth can
on vit
produce.
dans un monde où l'économie est très linéaire. C'est-à-dire que
And we live
on
in a
extrait la
world
matière, on
where
la
the
transforme, on la
economy
consomme,
is
puis ensuite
very
on achète
linear. We
l'indice
extract the
de prix
resources, they
mondial finit
are
à
being transformed, and
7,2%.
then we
Si on
dispose of them.
regarde
We have
plus
this world
précisément au
crisis,
Québec,
and
Canada, là où je
it
suis
is estimated
situé,
that
il y a un rapport
2.2%. We
2023
can also see the numbers in Quebec, in Canada.
Donc,
There's
ce qu'on voit,
a
c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de
report
travail à
where
faire
it is
pour
estimated
finalement
at 3%.
circulariser notre
This
économie
means that
et
there's a
en
lot of
fait,
work that
beaucoup
we have to do,
d'opportunités aussi.
and there are many opportunities
Euh,
also.
Ici, je vous promets, il n'y aura pas beaucoup de graphiques, mais il y en a quelques-uns.
Well,
On voit
here
ici, en
we're
fait,
going to
que
talk
ça,
about
c'est la
certain data.
totalité des matières qui sont exploitées dans
We
le
can
monde.
see
Ce que je veux
that
vous montrer,
these
c'est
are
que,
the
en
focal
fait, les minéraux, les
matters
métals
that are
et
used all
les
over the
sources
world.
pétrolières sont
And
toutes
I would like to show
ressources qui
you
sont non
the
renouvelables
side of the
et
metals
c'est des
and
ressources qu'on
different
exploite de
resources
plus
that
en
are
plus relativement
non-renewable.
à la
These
biomasse.
are
La
resources that are
biomasse qui est un
being
peu
used
tout ce
more
qui est
and more.
vivant sur la planète.
Also, the
Qui est en fait
biomass.
une ressource qu'on exploite de moins
The
en moins.
biomass is a
Mais pourtant,
resource
la
that we are
biomasse, il y en a
using less and
énormément
less.
et
And the
il faut
biomass
juste
is
savoir
a
où bien aller
resource
la chercher.
that is
Mais
present. There's a lot,
par
but
contre,
we have
les derniers graphiques,
to know
je vous
where to
promets,
find it
on peut
because
pas
that is
exploiter la
renewable.
biomasse n'importe comment. On peut pas la prendre comme on veut.
You cannot use
Ici, dans
biomass
le
in any
premier
way or
graphe
form.
à gauche, ce qu'on voit, c'est que
Here in the first
l'exploitation
chart
finalement de la
on your
biomasse,
left,
donc
we can
des
see
ressources
the
forestières,
exploitation
aquatiques
of the
et
biomass
tout ce qu'on peut
of
imaginer qui est naturel et
forestry
vivant finalement.
resources,
Et le
aquatic
principal facteur qui
resources,
impacte sur le
anything that
stress
is
sur l'eau
natural resource.
et puis la perte de
And
biodiversité
we also see the
sur
impact
Terre
that it
et
has
dans
to the
l'eau.
water. We see biodiversity
On le voit là, c'est
on the
en
land.
vert finalement, là, ça c'est l'impact de la
Also, we
biomasse sur ces
see the
stress
part of the
environnementaux-là.
ocean.
Et
This is the
si on
impact
se reporte sur le
that it
graphe de
has
droite,
at
on voit
an
que
environmental level.
c'est
And if we see on the
entre autres pour la
right,
production de nourriture. Donc, ce qui s'est produit
we
finalement dans
see
les dernières
that this is due to the
décennies, c'est qu'on
production
a
of food.
rasé des forêts,
This means that
on a
what has been produced in
transformé
the
finalement
last
toute
decades,
la, la, la biosphère, si on veut, pour en faire
we can
des
see
terres où on
how
cultive pour
the
produire de la nourriture.
biosphere has been transformed in
Puis
order to
ça,
have
ben, ça a créé un peu
land
de
that
crise qu'on
we
connaît
can
aujourd'hui.
cultivate.
Mais
This has
pourtant,
generated the
il y a une
crisis that
manière
we see today.
d'exploiter la biomasse,
However,
mais de manière intelligente.
there are ways of extracting
Donc, pendant ma
biomass, but
présentation,
in a more
la
intelligent
question qu'on s'est
manner.
posée avec
So for my
Nicolas,
presentation,
qui est mon
the
cofondateur avec qui
question
on a
that
lancé
we
le
have
projet,
with
c'est: et
Nicolas
si la solution à la
and
crise
with
climatique se
other
trouvait
colleagues
dans
in
nos
the
poubelles?
project is if the solution for climate
Au
change
Canada, il y a à peu près
is
60% de
within
la nourriture qui est
the
produite
waste,
et
the
gaspillée à chaque
garbage
année.
cans.
Puis
In
l'enfouissement de
Canada,
ces
we
matières-là, ça
have
génère des fortes
60%
quantités de
of
méthane. C'est un gaz qui
food
est
waste that
25 fois
they
plus
are wasted every
important
year.
pour
And
l'environnement
we also
que
see
le
the
CO2.
methane emissions. This gas is very
Donc, la question,
harmful
c'est:
for
est-ce qu'il
the
existe des solutions
environment.
concrètes pour réduire la pollution causée par les
The
matières
question
organiques?
is,
Ben,
are
si
there
je suis devant
concrete
vous
solutions
aujourd'hui,
to
je peux vous dire
reduce
que oui.
the contamination
En fait,
generated by
j'ai
organic
fondé
matter?
Encore Biomatériaux. Notre mission, c'est de développer les matériaux de demain
This
à
is
partir des
why
déchets organiques d'aujourd'hui.
we are developing the materials for
Ce qu'on a
tomorrow,
fait, c'est qu'on a développé un
starting with
procédé
the organic
low-tech
matter that
qui
are
est un
disposed
matériau
of
100%
right now,
biosourcé et
currently.
compostable qui est issu de
We're
déchets
trying to have materials
agroalimentaires québécois.
that can be
Donc,
found
on s'approvisionne dans un rayon
100%
de 10 km,
biological
entre autres, de
and that
fromages de
they
gruyère,
can be
marque de café
composted,
et
that
de
they have
sache de café qui est la coquille qui sépare du
food
café lors de
waste from
fermentation.
Quebec.
Donc, ce sont des déchets
And
urbains
we see
pour les
that
petites
we will be
entreprises qui souvent ont de la
separating
difficulté en son collaboration, puis
different
ils doivent payer
waste.
pour
These are
l'envoyer
urban
ailleurs.
waste
Alors,
from
ce
different
nous, ce qu'on
small
fait, c'est qu'on
companies.
récupère ces
And
matières-là, on
usually
en fait un
these
matériau.
companies have to pay in order for them to get
Donc,
their
l'idée
garbage
derrière tout
picked
ça,
up,
c'est un peu de
but this can generate
repenser
different
notre vie comme nous
materials.
entoure.
The
Quand on regarde les
idea
pièces de plastique
is
originiques,
to think a
Donc,
little bit
réduire la
more
composition,
about
un
the
peu comme on la
use
jette
of the
après un
different
élan
waste. For
intégrateur.
example,
Donc, on veut
when we
donner
see
un
uh,
meilleur équilibre
a
entre le temps de
plastic
dégradation des
piece
pièces puis
of
leur durée de vie
waste,
utile.
we want to have a better balance if we would have a better
Ouais, voilà, ici,
degradation.
c'est juste des beaux visuels. Un de nos premiers
Once
produits
again,
qu'on
we can
sort,
see
puis
a
un de
couple
nos
of
mottos, en
pictures
fait, nous, c'est de sortir des produits
that
sains. Donc,
show
c'est une lampe qui est faite à
the
partir soit
use
de
of
greffes
healthy
capillaires,
products.
comme je
For
disais, de marques de
instance, we
café ou de
have a
chocolat
lamp
aussi. Et puis, c'est pas
that
forcément
was
la
made
lampe qui
of
va changer le monde, mais c'est une première application
coffee
concrète
waste or
qui est facilement
beer
possible de mettre en
production or
opération pour un premier pas
brewery
vers le développement de
disposal or
matériaux un
waste.
petit peu plus
So
avancés.
this would be the first
Donc, on
step
va
to
lancer cette
develop
lampe-là
materials
d'ici
that
ce
are
lancement
much more
environ un mois.
advanced.
Et on
Uh,
espère en fait que ça va
And
nous
of
permettre de
course, we
générer
had
des
a
revenus
funding
plus
campaign that
rapidement et de
lasted over a
participer de
month.
recherche et développement.
And we hope this allows us
Donc,
to
ça, c'est
continue
la lampe.
getting
Puis sinon, on a un
income
deuxième
to be
produit qui est
able
encore une
to
fois très
follow
simple.
through with our
C'est
activities.
un
This is
couvert, tout simplement.
the first
Donc,
product, a lamp
une fois qu'on est
made
pressé, puis
out
le but, c'était
of
vraiment de faire le produit
the
le plus simple
coffee
possible, puis
waste.
qu'on
And
puisse
we
valider
also
facilement
have other
pour avoir un
products.
impact et avoir des choses concrètes. Parce que c'est facile des fois
We
d'avoir des
want to
idées
have
qui vont être
products that can be
complexes, mais une fois
easily
qu'on
sold.
rentre dans
That's why
l'exécution,
we have
ça devient rapidement plus difficile qu'on pense.
these cup holders
Alors, si je te fais une petite
because sometimes it
diapositive
is
de
very
différentes
difficult
possibilités d'application,
to sell
une des
these
applications
products
à laquelle
if
on
we
fait
don't
des
think
choses,
of
mais qu'on est en train
products
de faire en ce moment,
that can be easily
avec
sold.
nos premiers
This is
clients,
an
on fait
example
des
of
médailles pour la
products
course à
that we
pied.
are currently
Donc, beaucoup
developing.
de coureurs
We
qui viennent
have
pour faire une
these
médaille
medals,
prennent une photo, puis
medals for
ensuite ils signent dans un
races.
tiroir pour 20 ans. Ben, au moins, nous, on l'a fait à partir de rebuts de café. Et puis, ça fait un beau sujet de conversation. Puis que
We
pour ça, c'est
created these
super.
medals based
Par la
on
suite, on a réussi à
coffee
développer
waste,
une
and
idée et
this
une
can
plaque
also be
pour les marques
used
aussi.
as
Rapidement,
cup
je vais vous montrer
holders
par où on est passé. Donc, ça fait
very
2 ans
rapidly.
qu'on
I
suit le
would like
projet.
to show
Et
you
puis,
what we have
normalement,
done to
on
develop
souhaitait être sur projet
this
pilote à l'automne
project.
dernier. On a eu un
We
peu de retard
normally
au niveau de
start
la mise
with
en
our
place
pilot
de nos opérations.
project,
Donc,
and
on
we
est en
started
ce moment
last
dans le
year
projet pilote,
with
comme je l'ai dit,
autumn, and we
pour la
started
production
our
de médailles.
operations.
Et
We
puis, le
are
but pour cette
currently
année, ça
in
va
a
être
pilot project for
de
producing these
commercialiser
medals
la lampe, commencer à générer des revenus pour
and
finalement
to be
pérenniser le
able to
projet,
sell
pour faire
this
en sorte
lamp.
qu'on puisse grandir dans les prochaines années.
We want this product to last.
Non seulement on a une mission environnementale, mais on a aussi une mission sociale. Donc, on souhaite, une fois que
It's
notre
not
production
only
va
an
être plus
environmental
établie,
mission,
plus ordonnée, plus
it's also
structurée,
a social
implique des
mission. We
personnes de
want
haute
to
gestion
have
avec un organisme
a
local
more
qui pourrait rendre
organized
non seulement notre
production with a
économie plus
legal
circulaire, mais aussi
entity,
plus inclusive.
so we can create a more inclusive and
Ça,
circular
c'est notre
economy.
très petite équipe. Donc, je travaille avec Nicolas qui s'occupe du développement
This
des
is
affaires et
our
du
team.
marketing. Puis, on a la chance d'être supporté par plein
This is
d'organismes
our
locaux.
team
Et on a aussi
that
la
is
chance de rencontrer
devoted
beaucoup
to
de
developing new
gens qui sont
businesses,
absolument
and we
reconnaissants
had
pour nous
the
de faire en sorte que
opportunity
ce
to
projet-là
win
soit une
some
réalité.
awards,
Donc,
and
on
this
essaie de faire l'honneur
allowed
à
us
tous ces gens-là
to
qui nous ont aidés, puis
make this project
de
come true.
poursuivre dans
That's
cette
why
voie-là.
we
C'est un peu
wanted to honor
les gens
all
qui
the
nous ont fait confiance.
people who have helped us, all
Alors,
the
pour
people
finir, on rêve d'un
who
monde où
have
rien ne se perd,
helped us and
mais tout se
supported
transforme
us,
encore
and
et
we
encore.
dream with a
Donc,
better
si vous
world
raisonnez avec
where
ce que
we
je viens de
can
vous présenter,
continue
n'hésitez pas à prendre
transforming
contact avec moi.
ourselves.
Et
If
puis
you
ensemble,
have any
allons encore plus
questions
loin. Merci beaucoup.
about what I just presented, please reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing about your very, very cool project. That was very interesting to learn more about. And I actually need a new lamp for my room soon. So hopefully when you start selling your lamps, I would love to look into buying one myself. Right now, we don't have any questions for Alexandra yet, but we will also have an opportunity later on to ask questions if things come up later. So for now, we'll move on to the next presentation. And thanks again, Alexandra. Our next
Thank you.
speakers Our next speakers are Cesar Bonilla, Dino Del Cueto Vieto, and Mariana Navarro from Monterrey, Mexico. Their project is called Amortiguador Riborello, which aims to transform La Silla River into a riparian buffer and resilient corridor, reconnecting the community with its ecological heritage and offering a replicable model for other cities.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre
Good
es Mariana
afternoon. My
Navarro.
name is Mariana Navarro, and together with Dino Cueto and Cesar Bonilla, we're going to talk about our riparian buffer project on the La Silla River in the city of Monterrey. We are architects from the UNAM in Mexico.
Creo que hay unos problemas técnicos con
I think there are
la
some
presentación.
technical issues with the presentation. Just bear with us.
Listo.
Okay.
En el 2022,
In
a Monterrey le dio
2022,
el día cero,
Monterrey
y en
reached
agosto,
day zero, and in
sus
August,
reservas, con el 5%
and
de
it
capacidad, que es
exhausted
bastante
all its
importante.
reserves.
En septiembre del
In September
2022, las lluvias
2022,
terminaron
the
ante la
rains
sequía, pero desataron
ended
violentas
a huge
inundaciones en
drought,
Monterrey.
but started great flooding in Monterrey.
El huracán Alex en el 2010,
Hurricane
uno de los más
Alex in
costosos del
2010,
país,
one of
superó
the
los
most
25
expensive
mil millones
hurricanes
de
in the
pesos.
country, exceeding 1.2 million pesos.
Los huracanes, las sequías y las
Hurricanes,
inundaciones
droughts,
son
and
fenómenos
floods are
interrelacionados
interrelated
debido al cambio
phenomena
climático ocurren
occurring
cada
more
vez con
and
mayor
more
frecuencia.
frequently because of
Todos
climate
estos
change.
problemas tienen un
All
punto en
these
común.
problems
Están
are
directamente
directly
ligados a la forma en
related
que
to
interactuamos con el
our
agua.
relationship
Tomando
with
esto en
water,
cuenta, fue que nosotros
and that is
decidimos
why
enfocar
we
nuestro proyecto en
decided
las
to
principales
focus
redes
our
hídricas de la
project
ciudad
on
de
the
Monterrey,
main
una de las más
hydric
importantes de
networks
México,
in
y
Monterrey,
nos
one of
enfocamos
the main
especialmente en el
cities
río La
in
Silla.
Mexico, and we focused on La Silla River.
Comenzamos con un
Let's start
análisis
with
de
an
un mapa de
analysis
riesgos donde
of a
señalamos
risk map
las
where we
zonas de
have
rezago
pointed
social
out
y aquellas
those
zonas de alta
areas with social
población que se
disadvantage
superponen
and
con
those of
áreas
high
expuestas a
population
inundaciones.
density that are
Además
directly
de esto,
related to flood
identificamos
areas.
una franja
In
alrededor del
addition,
río
we
compuesta por espacios
identified a
subutilizados
strip with
suficientes con más de 180
with park
hectáreas.
with this
A
use and
estos
without
sumamos la
maintenance.
presencia de varios
This
parques en desuso y
we
sin
can add
mantenimiento,
some parks in this
localizados
use and without
principalmente en la zona
maintenance
marginada.
in the
Tomando
marginalized
todos estos
area.
factores en cuenta,
Taking
fue que
all these
nosotros
factors
decidimos
into
enfocar
account,
nuestro
we
proyecto piloto
decided
a
to
esta zona,
start
donde
our
también se
pilot
dividen
project in the
dos
zone where it
municipios
is
de Monterrey muy importantes.
located between two municipalities, major municipalities
Después
in
de hacer este
Monterrey.
análisis, nosotros
After
fuimos a una
completing
visita de
this
campo donde
analysis, we
pudimos
did
notar
a field
estos
trip
parques en
where we were
desuso
able to see
que
these parks in
actualmente los
this
podemos
use,
nombrar
and we
como
can
plazas de
name
estacionamiento
them
que no
as
tienen ningún valor para la
concrete
comunidad.
uh,
También
plates that have
observamos
no
la
benefit
canalización,
for the
bueno, unas
community. We
canalizaciones
also
que deberían de
some
conducir las escorrentías
channeling
durante la
that
época de
should
lluvia,
channel the
que
runoffs
actualmente
during
se encuentran obstruidas con
the rainy
basura que
season, and
va
they are currently
desplazándose
covered
hacia la boca
with garbage,
del
and
río,
which causes
donde
the
lo
river to
contaminan y
become
afectan su
polluted,
capacidad
and
natural de
they
recuperación.
affect the natural capacity of the
También
river to
encontramos estos
regenerate. We
puentes, que es
were
como
also
se encuentra
able to see
actualmente
these
el
areas
río La
under the
Silla.
bridge. This is
Estos
the
están
current
completamente llenos
situation
de
of La
basura
Silla
y refuerzan
River. They
esta
are
conexión
these areas are
existente
full of
actual entre la
garbage, and there
ciudad
is no
y
connection
el río y
between
la naturaleza.
the city, the river, and nature.
Igualmente notamos
And
un contraste muy
likewise, we
importante.
saw
Esta
a
es un
high
área que
contrast.
está
This is an
a
area
unos kilómetros
that is
alejada de la
a couple
población.
of kilometers away
Y
from the
notamos en
population,
esta área donde ha
and we
sido libre
saw
de ninguna
that
intervención
this
humana, tiene una
area
sorprendente
without
capacidad de
human
recuperación
intervention
y
has a very high
restauración, y esto nos
recovery
dio la esperanza
capacity,
de que con
and
acciones
this gave
simples
us the
podamos
hope that
comenzar
with
a
very simple actions
regenerar esta
we can
área
start regenerating this area
en un corto
in a
plazo de
very
tiempo.
short period of time. the riparian buffer project was created to improve marginalized areas in Monterrey and also reducing the risk of flooding in these areas. The channeling of the river does not help, so we want to eliminate it, and we want to widen the river bed so we can use these intervention areas. When we eliminate the channeling, we restore the water flow, and the river flow restores with the creation of wetlands for better and cleaning the water that gets to the river, and also providing the possibility to use this water in a near future during a drought season. We also we can be able to recover those parks in disuse and create an interconnected network of parks so we can start using these areas that are not currently in use. And finally, there is a comprehensive connection with mobility. It is an area with a lack of public transportation. We can connect these areas to the city because currently the river is actually a barrier, and we can implement areas for pedestrians and for vehicles without an engine. All these strategies make up the riparian buffer project. We want to generate the ecosystem between the hill and mountains and rivers. We want to create a link and reconnection with the ecosystem and creating a self-sustainable project. As a start of this ambitious project, a seed project area was can be generated, which contains all the initial strategies in an area of only 6 hectares. These 6 hectares would absorb 600 tons of carbon dioxide per year. This project is born from the creation of a neighborhood heart in the school on the neighborhood 25 de Noviembre, where the community will gather and have a direct link with the river. This diagram shows the different social activities planned for the SEED project: improvement of parks, vegetable gardens, workshops, and a permeable square for community meetings. The project is planned in 3 phases. The first phase is remodeling the linear park crossing the neighborhood, redesigning the public space as a safe space that can provide recovery of water during the rainy season and involve the community in the restoration of the river. The second phase includes the implementation of ditches and renovation of sidewalks in the hills runoff. This water that comes from the mountain will allow to stop or prevent all the waste from going into the river. And the third phase is the dechanneling of the river, eliminating its impermeable walls, which are currently made of concrete, generating topography and renaturalizing it with native vegetation, generating water breaks and plant shadows, thus avoiding the rapid evapotranspiration of water in times of drought.
Aquí vemos el corte general. En
Here
este
we can see
identificamos 3 zonas clave.
the map.
La
We
primera es
can
las zonas
identify
humedales, que
3
funcionan como un
main
área
areas.
para
The first one
almacenar
is the
durante
wetland
las
area,
lluvias y
which
como espacio
functions as a
recreativo en
filtering
temporada
area
seca.
during the
La segunda
rainy
es la zona
season,
del
as
recreativo. Este
well
espacio
as a
está en
recreation
contacto
area
constante
during
con
the
el
dry
agua.
season. The
Y
river
3, la
zone,
zona seca,
which is the one
siempre
that will
utilizada,
always have contact with the
independiente
water,
del riesgo de las
and the dry
condiciones
area,
climáticas.
which proposes all the uses that will be usable, all the uses for
Aquí
these
podemos ver una
areas by the
visualización del
community.
proyecto.
Here we can
Este
see
es el
the
render aéreo.
project. This
Aquí
is
podemos apreciar las
the
distintas
air
actividades y su
render.
interacción con el
We can see
espacio
the different
y cómo se
activities and
difumina
how
la
these
barrera
activities
entre natural,
integrate with the space,
ciudad y
and how do we
movimiento.
reduce the barrier between the natural area and the area that is populated in Monterrey.
Aquí podemos ver el render de
Here
los
we
humedales de
can
cobertura,
see
cuyo uso
the
varía según la sensibilidad del río en temporada de
filtration
lluvias.
wetlands, and the wetlands have different functions according to the season we're in.
Y finalmente, este es el render
And
del espacio
finally,
propuesta
this
como
is
espacio
the
comunitario
render of the
y como
square,
centro barrial al
which
lado
can
de la
become
escuela
a community
en la
space that
colonia
is next
25 de
to
noviembre.
the school in the
El
neighborhood
proyecto
called
del
25 de
amortiguador es un
Noviembre.
proyecto que
The
genera conexión
Riparian
armónica
Buffer
entre la
Project
comunidad, la
generates a
infraestructura
connection
y el
between
ecosistema.
community, infrastructure,
La
and
propuesta se
ecosystem.
basa en
The
una
proposal
cooperación económica
is
sólida
based
entre
on
los
an
sectores
economic
público y
and
privado.
is based
Para
on
ello,
a
se busca
strong
establecer
economic
alianzas
cooperation
estratégicas
between the
entre
public and
empresas, agencias de
private
cooperación,
sectors in order to create
universidades
a
y
project.
especialistas
This
y
would
con el
imply
gobierno,
creating a strategic
asegurando así
alliance between companies,
un
corporation
financiamiento sostenible y la posible inflación
agencies,
de
and the
este proyecto.
government, thus guaranteeing a solid
Lo
financial
más
base.
relevante
The
es que este
most
método es
important thing
replicable en
is that
todas las
this
ciudades
method
con
can
ríos,
be replicable
tanto en
in
México
all
como en
cities with
Norteamérica.
rivers in
Por
Mexico and
supuesto,
throughout North
tomando en cuenta
America,
los factores locales
clearly
y
while
naturales
taking into
específicos de
account
cada uno
local
de
and
los ríos.
natural factors of the rivers in
La
question.
creación de
The
amortiguadores
creation
y la
of buffers
restauración de las
and
principales
restoration
fuentes
of
de
major
agua
water
son pasos
resources
esenciales para
will be
garantizar la
essential
sostenibilidad y el
steps to
futuro de
ensure
nuestras redes limpias
sustainability and
urbanas para las
future of
generaciones que
our
siguen.
water networks for
Estamos
the next
profundamente
generations to
agradecidos por
come.
haber
We're
sido invitados y
deeply
por la oportunidad
thank
de
you
presentar el
for being
proyecto.
invited
Agradecemos
and
igualmente a
for
Climator UNAM por
having
darnos
the
la posibilidad de darle
opportunity
profundidad a
to
nuestras
present this
propuestas
project.
y
We would
ayudarnos a
like to thank
difundirlas.
UNAM for
Muchas
supporting
gracias.
us. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much for that very comprehensive overview of the very cool project that you are all working on. I love that your project isn't just focused on restoring nature, but also connecting people to that nature, and even having some planned activities from social activities that could happen as well with the people in the communities living there. That's great. We do have a lot of questions, but we will move on to the next presentation, and then when we come back to some participant discussion, I'll raise the questions to you then, so we have time for the next presentation. But thank you again. Our final speaker is McKenna Dunbar from Virginia in the United States with her project Electrovive. McKenna is a thought leader in building electrification, committed to environmental justice and clean energy transitions.
Hello, everybody. Very nice to see familiar faces and many new names on the screen. I will be sharing my presentation. Just one moment. Let's see. Anywho, I wanted to give a bit of a background about myself. I am originally from the Washington, D.C. area, but I came to University of Richmond and back in 2019 to pursue education and ended up staying in Richmond, Virginia, and have found a home in Virginia due to the environmental justice work that I've had the pleasure of being a part of. First and foremost, I consider myself an environmental justice practitioner. I consider myself a clean energy advocate, and I really am a believer in talking about what does a livable future look like to each and every one of us. I would like to start out by thanking the CEC and all the other collaborators in tonight's webinar and just for mentoring both my colleague and I, Jake Barnett, and I in this journey for this inaugural fellowship. Right here is just a slide of some of my colleagues. My colleague with Flip Inc. Her name is Ray Elliott. She's a visionary in the workforce development sphere, and Joanna, who is our sustainable architecture consultant. And we also have Kiki, not shown on screen, who has been supporting us as well. But to start off, I first wanted to do a little thought exercise for everybody. And I can't see the chat box right now, but I wanted to ask you a question. And feel free to ponder on it for 5-10 seconds and put your answer in the question box if you want to do so. But what percentage of our lives as human beings do you think that we spend indoors inside a building. Think about the average percentage that Canadians, um, you know, Mexicans and people from the United States spend per for their lives. So you have that number. I'm sure there's some messages in the chat box. The reason I'm asking this question is because it really centers on the conversation I want to have with you all tonight in terms of the importance of our work. So throughout Canada, the United States, and Mexico, humans spend approximately 90% of their lives indoors on average. This breakdown includes 70% of our lives in homes and 20% in workplaces, schools, or other indoor environments. And for some people, that is higher on average, and this percentage may vary due to socioeconomic status or for outdoor laborers versus office workers in colder climates versus hotter climates. But to get to the question, I'm focusing on this topic because building decarbonization and the steps in shifting away from fossil fuel and incorporating more renewable energy and more energy efficient systems in our infrastructure is critical in envisioning a livable future that's built on sustainability, and most importantly, that's built on creating comfort for the average human being. And what I've processed most from the Gallup Fellowship and our Electrovive work at large this past year has been how much the diversity of thought and action it takes to tackle the climate crisis. And I know I am not alone in that regard. For context, Electrovive is a workforce development initiative embedded within the building electrification module and in partnership with Flip Inc. Our focus is on training individuals in energy efficiency and electrification to ensure that the most impacted by systemic barriers, particularly those who are incarcerated individuals, marginalized workers, and underrepresented communities at large within the state of Virginia, have access to economic opportunities in the clean energy sector. And so what I've really appreciated about my fellows, for lack of a better word, is how much the inaugural Gallup cohort stands out in their mix of optimism and urgency, which are key emotions that many of us feel and share. Each person showing how creativity and collaboration can drive real change, whether it be with the circular economy, whether it be in conservation, whether it be with energy infrastructure. It reminds me of why Jake and I started Electrovive, to really reimagine what's possible when we not only center people, but we center communities in the clean energy transition. And addressing these challenges isn't just about systems or strategies. I truly believe that it's about empowering people with the tools and the knowledge and the connections to thrive in this new economy. And so what really has stuck with me most throughout this journey for the past few years of doing this work, particularly in the past year and a half, has been that change really happens at the intersections between disciplines, between generations, and between individual efforts, because that is what spurs our collective action. Virginia, I've walked into jails and met people who are ready for a new path, people who just need an opportunity to rebuild. And through Electrovive, we've created holistic energy efficiency programs that combine accredited solar installation training with real back-end.
I'm sorry, she's having audio problems. I can't hear.
Recidivism rate in the nation, recidivism justice system, and Virginia has the second lowest rate in the entire nation. We're building on that momentum and showing 600,000 individuals released from incarceration each year. This work is more than jobs. It's really about hope, and it's about breaking cycles of poverty and creating a future where clean energy isn't just sustainable, but it is equitable. Okay, go to the next slide now. I'm trying to do that now. Okay, great. And as I mentioned, it's about hope, and it really goes beyond technical training, even though that is, of course, important. It's about long-term stability, economic resilience, and of course, equity, which is the reason all of us are here. And so we believe that through embedding workforce education and community engagement, and also, apologies for the noise outside, it's raining quite hard, and industry partnerships, we really can help in making clean energy careers more accessible to all. So in the past year, I'll give a little overview as to what type of work we've been doing while I finish up my presentation. We've really expanded our reach and deepened our impact. In particular, last July, right when we were informed us entering the cohort, we visited and presented at Henrico East Jail, integrating renewable energy education into existing correctional facilities. And fortunately, we have been able to do both co-ed cohorts and individually gendered cohorts. And while incarcerated individuals face employment barriers, these accredited certifications are critical to them transitioning into society. And fortunately, using Department of Labor grant money that Flip Inc. received, we have formed a program, FACER project, spearheaded by Ray, our leader, and it is a 3-week internship where they get to shadow a solar partner 1 week and go through the building electrification education module we designed. Those 3 weeks were 7 paid, 3 individuals and renewable energy immediately after joining the
McKenna?
next. Mhm.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm just getting some notes here that the interpreters are having some difficulties hearing you. I think your connection is also breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I
I'm sorry,
apologize
but her
for that.
connection
I
is cutting.
will, I'm near the end of my presentation, but I just really want to focus on the fact that in the future, we as a team plan on entering and incorporating a voting rights aspect into the recidivism, reducing recidivism work that we are doing in order to complement the existing clean energy and infrastructure education. We believe that the individuals that we are directly working with, they're thought leaders as well, and should have a say in how Virginia and certain municipalities approach transitioning individuals, particularly with them re-accessing their voting rights. So on that, we're not only reimagining the built environment, we are also thinking about strengthening employer partnerships. And in general, we believe in building a movement that centers individuals in the new clean energy sphere. So thank you so much. I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much, McKenna. I loved your presentation. I've never heard the term recidivism before, so I learned something new today. And with my work at Skills for Change, I also do a lot of work in workforce development as well, specifically for newcomers and immigrants. So that was really interesting to hear about your project idea. Very cool. And just a quick note, we got a comment in the chat here. There's a huge resistance from the authorities. Congratulations for your presentation. Okay, so we will now have a 5-minute break. And while we are on break, we are going to put up another word cloud for people to fill out. And the question will be, what environmental issue is your biggest concern? Just noting that we'll be back at 5:56. That's when the break will end. Looks like heat is a primary concern from most of you here, and microplastics. Now water is in the middle, more specifically water accessibility, water scarcity. Someone put apathy. That is also um, definitely a connected issue. Biodiversity loss. Okay, everyone, it is 5:56 now. So sorry, I forgot not everyone is on the same time as me, but it's time for us to come back. Thank you everyone for your participation in the Slido and putting um, up your answers to this question. We're gonna, for the remaining time, which is about half an hour or so, we'll have some participatory time where attendees in the call will have an opportunity to share about where you're from, what projects you're working on, or also ask questions to the speakers. Depending on how many people would like to share, I think we'll allow each person about 1 minute to speak since there is many of us in the call. And if you would like to speak, please raise your hand or use the raise hand function in Zoom, and someone will unmute your mic. Otherwise, we also encourage you to add comments or questions and links to your projects or contact information in the chat. And also just to note that we will be able to unmute you, but we won't be able to put your video camera on. So your video camera will remain off. Alma, you can go ahead.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good
Hola, buenas
afternoon.
tardes. Mi nombre es Alma,
My name
soy
is
de
Alma.
Chiapas y
I'm
bueno,
from
quería
Chiapas,
compartirles que
and
desde
I
acá,
wanted to
bueno,
share
formé
with
una
you
colectiva que se llama
that we
Cochulem
have a collective
y
which
nos
is
muy
called
feliz poder
Cochulem,
escuchar
and
como
I'm very
estas
happy
propuestas que
to
se están
hear
haciendo en un
all the
montón de
proposals
lugares.
that are being done in
Nosotras
different
tenemos
places.
desde acá pues
We
programas,
have
nos
from over
hemos aliado
here
igual con otras
programs
organizaciones
are
para
also linked
justamente
to other
seguir llevando a cabo
organizations in order
actividades de
to continue
reforestación, de
with
restauración,
activities of
que es el tema
reforestation,
principal que tenemos
restoration.
acá, porque
That is the main
justamente
topic
pues
that we
estamos
we
viviendo
have
las
over here
presiones del cambio
because
climático.
we
Ahorita
are
estamos en
living the
temporada
pressures or experiencing the pressures
de
of
seca y
climate
están
change.
empezando
We
los
have a drought season
incendios
and
y
we are
cada año
starting with
estamos
forest
como haciendo
fires,
este
and every
proceso, ¿no? A
year
pesar de que
we
se nos han
carry out
quemado
this
también
process.
áreas donde ya hemos
We have
reforestado,
areas
pero no
that
nos
have
damos
burned down
por
in
vencidas,
areas
seguimos
that
con esta
we have
intención de seguir
already reforested,
sumando,
but we don't give
pero
up.
sí
We
nos ha
continue
sido muy
working hard,
difícil llegar a los
but it's very
financiamientos
difficult to
o
reach
poder
financing
aplicar a
or
los
to be
proyectos y
able
que nos
to apply
acepten.
to
Y creo que en
projects
estos
and to be
espacios también nos
accepted.
da para ver
And in these
un poquito
spaces,
más lejos de
we
cómo podríamos
see
cambiar
beyond
nuestra estrategia
what
para
we
llegar a
can
estos
improve our
financiamientos y que
strategies in
también
order to
lleguen a
obtain
esta zona de
financing,
Chiapas,
and in
donde
order for
nosotros estamos
financing to reach
actualmente,
this area
que es
of
Tuxtla
Chiapas.
Gutiérrez, donde hay
Yeah,
zonas que
we are in
están, por
Tuxtla
ejemplo, que
Gutierrez right
tienen
now,
pues el
and
potencial para ser
they have the
rescatadas,
potential
pero
of being rescued. But
está este tema de
this topic
financiamiento
of
o que
financing,
se han dejado
or
por temas
that they have been put aside
de
for
incendios
topics
forestales, como
of
es uno
forest
de la
fires,
más importante que tenemos
which
acá en
is
Cerro
the most
Matumanzá,
important
que
that
hemos
we have
intentado
over
meter
here in
proyectos
Cerro
para
Matomanza.
su rescate,
And we
pero
have
son temas complicados,
we're
¿no? En
trying
teoría
to
también es
have
importante que
financing
los que ya han
to
hecho
restore this
proyectos
area.
compartan también como
And
los retos que han
those of
tenido
you
en
that have
cuanto
already projects
a
and have
cómo
been
lo hacen,
financed,
porque por ejemplo
what are
acá
the
son
challenges that
dueños
you
de la
had to
tierra, es un
overcome?
poquito
Because
complicado si
over
eres mujer,
here, the
porque no
owners
te
of
dan
the
el
land,
espacio ni siquiera para
and
poder
if
platicar
you're a
con ellos.
woman, they
Bueno,
don't even
ahí
give
está
you
el
the
comentario.
space to be
Muchísimas
able to
gracias.
talk to them. So that's my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing, Alma. I know a question was also asked. I'm not sure if any of the speakers would like to answer. And I'd also just like to note for whoever is speaking next or raising their questions or comments, if you could please try to speak a little slowly so that we're able to interpret it properly. Alma, I also encourage you to share maybe some links to your projects or social media or contact information in the chat so that we can encourage people to connect with one another. Okay, we can move on to the second person, Erica.
Hola, ¿me escuchan?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Bueno,
can hear you.
soy Erika de la
My name
comunidad
is
Nahua de
Erika from the Coantepec
en
Nahua
México
community in Mexico,
y formo parte de
and
varias
I am part
colectivas
of
de
different
juventudes
collective groups of
para la
youth
justicia
for
climática y
climate
también formo parte
justice,
de un
environmental
movimiento
justice, and I
contra
am
de una
also part
minoría
of
que
a movement against
quiere despojar
mine that wants to use my land. And the project that I currently have is working with the youth to rescue ancestral knowledge from our language, which is Nahuatl, to other activities so we can strengthen taking care of our land and also advocating for our land because we want to preserve the Nahuatl language and some ancestral practices that can allow us to continue defending our land, specifically defending ourselves from this mine project. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, for sharing about the very interesting work that you're doing. The next person we'll have speak is Sebastian.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Mucho gusto.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Can you hear me okay? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Ok, bueno, nosotros somos de una consultoría de sostenibilidad.
We are a sustainability consultant company, and we encourage sustainability by saying that sustainability is a field where we can all play. So we work with transnational companies and we accompany them. We create solutions through workshops and activities with these organizations. And once we have identified the point in which they should be participating, we present some protocol projects, and it has to do with gardens, water, waste, different existing technologies in the market, because we have identified that there is the will to move forward. Sustainability is, I mean, people are familiar with the concept of sustainability, and there are many technologies available, but there's a key factor to be able to use these technologies is accompanying and accelerating this accompaniment to accelerate the use of these type of technologies. So thank you very much. I feel very encouraged by this session.
Thank you for your comment, Sebastian. And I definitely agree with you that we can have all the sustainable technologies in the world, and it doesn't really matter if we can't convince people that they should be using it. The next person that had their hand up was Letitia.
Hola, ¿me oyen? Hola, hola.
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Perdón. Ya. Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes.
Good
Yo soy de
afternoon.
la Costa Chica de Guerrero, en
I
México.
come from Guerrero, the coast of Guerrero.
Afromexicana.
I am an
Lidero un grupo que se
Afro-American
llama Afroaventura Tour.
woman, and
Desde
I
donde
lead
impulsamos el afroturismo bajo el enfoque de conservación ambiental.
Afro-American tours
Como ustedes
for
saben, hemos enfrentado
environmental
diversos
conservation as well.
desastres por
We
huracanes como
have
Otis y John
faced
los últimos 2
different
años. Así que
hurricanes like
también estamos
Otis and John.
impulsando
So we are
un
also
proyecto que se llama Cejaguar,
promoting a
justo
project called
capacitar a
Cejaguar,
capacitarnos como
and
juventudes
it
afromexicanas
involves
frente al cambio climático,
training
frente a los
Afro-American
desastres.
or
Entonces, también
Afro-Mexican
realizamos monitoreos ambientales,
communities
coordinación con la
to
población local, también
be more
instituciones
resilient to climate change. So
académicas
we
de Ciudad
work
de
with
México.
the
No
academia
voy a
and
estar
we
por ahí
work with other
el enlace
organizations. So I'm going
de
to leave
Afroaventura, por si
my
quieren también
link
visitarnos algún día por acá,
on the
muy cerca de
chat.
Acapulco.
It's
Muchas
called
gracias.
Afroaventura, and please visit us. We're near Acapulco.
Thank you for sharing about the work that you're doing. And yes, please leave the links to your project in the chat. Next, we have Claude.
Bonjour, j'espère que vous m'écoutez bien. D'accord, d'accord. Je suis Claude Kevin du Cameroun et je
My
suis
name is
activiste
Claude Kevin
environnemental
from
et académique.
Cameroon.
Nous
I
avons
am
les effets
an
du changement climatique
environmental
ont beaucoup impacté les années
advocate.
précédentes.
We
Et
have
vraiment, suite à
suffered
cela,
from
nous sommes
climate
décidés
change.
d'agir.
It had
Donc,
had a
chaque jour, nous
very
marchons dans les
negative
différentes
impact.
localités. Nous rendons compte que
That's
la
why we
pollution
decided
est très
to
grave.
do something
Et le
about
vrai souci,
this.
c'est d'abord la
We work
sensibilisation et
on
l'éducation des
different
populations et
areas
communautés
where
locales.
there's a lot of pollution.
Nous avons
But
constitué
first,
une
we
association
have
dont
to
je suis le dirigeant,
educate
le
the
fondateur.
populations.
Nous travaillons
I
avec les
am the
jeunes, les
founder
femmes
of
et toutes les
this
populations plus
organization. We
influentes que le
work
monde.
with the youth,
Et nous essayons
with
de travailler
women,
beaucoup
and
plus
the population
lors des
as a
journées
whole.
internationales afin de
We try
sensibiliser et d'impacter
to work
un plus large public.
within the
Nous nous sommes donnés pour
international
études de protéger l'environnement, de
workshops
promouvoir
to
l'agriculture durable et surtout défendre le climat.
educate the
Car tous
people
ces
or in the public in
éléments liés à
general.
notre environnement sont
And
aussi au
we
quotidien. Nous devons
defend, we
préserver
advocate
nos
for
générations futures.
uh,
Pour cela, c'est vrai,
climate,
nous travaillons en
and we have
synergie
to
unie.
preserve
Nous mettons
our
nos efforts ensemble pour faire
environment
des
for future
activités de
generations. We
conservation.
work in
Nous
synergy
essayons
and we
aussi, nous sommes
join
une équipe
our
jeune et nous
efforts
savons
to
vraiment toucher un public plus
develop
essayer
certain
de
activities. We're a
sensibiliser le
team
plus
of young
majorité.
people and
Nous
we
cherchons aussi
want
des
to
partenaires et des personnes qui pourraient nous
uh,
encourager dans cette
make
tâche
people
afin d'élargir
aware
notre action
of these
à travers le
environmental
pays et d'autres
problems, and
pays
we
en
want
Afrique et dans
to
le monde aussi.
uh,
Merci.
reach out to more young people to continue working in these activities in Africa and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for joining us all the way from Cameroon. That's awesome. Next, we'll have Yasmin. Yasmin, I see you're
Yasmin.
unmuted. Sorry, Yasmin, we can't hear you, so we'll just we'll come back to you maybe when your mic is working. Next we'll have Lizette. Okay, we'll move on again to Salvador.
Hola, hola, hola a todos.
Hello, everyone.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias
Well,
por
thank
el
you very
tiempo aquí
much
para el
for
micrófono. Soy Salvador Buitrón
the
de
time
México,
and with the
particularmente
microphone. I am Salvador
de la
Huitron
región
from
de la Reserva
Mexico,
de la Biosfera Mariposa
from the
Monarca
monarch
y
butterfly
Americana.
biosphere,
Coordino la
and I
organización de
coordinate
demostraciones y respuestas
the
adaptativas, donde, bueno,
adaptative
somos
responses
un
organization.
grupo
We
de
are
jóvenes, 4
a group
jóvenes
of young people, four young
ambientólogos,
people.
que
We
nos
are
gusta, bueno,
environmentalists, and
realizar
we would
proyectos de
like to
conservación y restauración socioecológica
conduct
en el centro
social
de México,
ecological
particularmente
projects
en la
in
región
the
de la
central
Mariposa
area
Monarca.
of Mexico, especially
Bueno,
in the
básicamente
monarch
tenemos las
butterfly
áreas de
region.
restauración
We are
ecológica,
currently working on some
la parte de
ecological
educación
restoration
ambiental,
areas. We
turismo
also have
alternativo
environmental
también trabajamos
education
con esta
and
parte, ¿no? Y bueno, por último, nada más
ecotourism.
mencionar
And I
bueno,
would
también
also
somos
like to
cofundadores de
mention
la red
that we are
comunitaria de turismo
co-founders of the
alternativo, la
community
red CAT,
network of
y de
ecotourism.
la red
It's called the
WIN Monarca, ¿no? Es
CATA
una red
network and the
donde tratamos de
Monarch Butterfly
sensibilizar
Network. where we want to empower and raise awareness of the monarch butterfly and the ecosystems in the region. I'm going to leave my contact information so you can learn more about the work we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Salvador, for sharing. And yes, please leave the link to your contact information as well so people could reach out to you. I see that Yasmin is back. Did you want to try speaking again, Yasmin?
Hola, ¿ya se escucha mejor?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Hola, pues yo soy Yasmin Rubio.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Rubio. So I would like to greet you from the Caribbean. We are a group of young people that studied sustainable growth and coastal areas in the UNAM. We are currently working on a pilot project for environmental education for public officials, because we have seen that in this new stage of construction and development of Mexico, many times they do have environmental legislation and they need to meet certain environmental programs, but they sometimes recruit people without any environmental education. We saw this opportunity to support these companies based on our experience. So this is what we are currently doing. We are just starting. We are a startup and we are working on the ideas, and we are assessing the public policies. We want to support all communities because it is very encouraging to know that there are people that are fighting for their environment. So it is very important that the communities look after their land and after their environment. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Yasmin, and congrats on your startup. That's very exciting. And yeah, please share the link to that in the chat so we can check it out. Next, we'll have Safia.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me time. I am from Canada, Toronto. So I have my group that's name is Thankli Wellness Cafe group, and more than 4 or 5 years we are getting grant from the city, and we are educating the communities, especially the ladies who works in their home. They are in my group, and the youth, children, all of them. When we do events, they also join us. And we are working on the climate change, especially we are green champion, climate champion, and for the green beans education, because there are 3 beans, blue bean and green bean. Garbage everybody knows, but the problem is that what goes in the green bin. So we educated our community, more than thousands people right now, and they started from their home. We did events, we did the eco blades and workshops, events to educate the people, and still we are doing that one. And we are now connecting this climate change to the mental health and well-being of the community also. And because of these programs, people learn a lot. Even we started from our own home, our own families, and then we are educating our friends and family also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Safia, for sharing about your work. Waste management in Canada, especially, is definitely very important. So that's awesome to hear. Next, we'll have Rokio. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Nia, can you repeat the name of the person who's next?
Rocío.
¿Me escuchan?
Oh,
Sí.
sorry, it's pronounced Rocio.
Ok, ¿ahora sí?
Sorry
Sí,
about that.
Rocío. ¿Ya?
Yes, go ahead.
Ok, bueno, nosotros somos un grupo
We are a
de
group of young researchers.
recién salidos
Most of them
terminando
just
doctorado de la
graduated
maestría en salud
from
ambiental
the university or
nuestro
just
interés
finished our
es
postgraduate studies in environmental issues. We want to democratize
visibles los
or
efectos
make
en
visible
salud
the impact
en
on our health in Mexico derived from climate pollution or derived from pollution or water pollution. This is a new project, and we think that it can become a significant project to fight pollution. We have seen that people do not react or act if they do not see a negative impact on their health to reduce the different types of pollution. So we're working on that.
Eso es todo.
This is it.
Thank you, Rocio, for sharing about your work. Next, we will have Anise.
Yes. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where everyone is tuning in from, but I'm glad to be on the call. My name is Anise Williams. I currently reside in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I work for the city of West Palm Beach. I am their environmental management systems coordinator, and I manage a environmental awareness program with the city, which allows all of our employees to get a better understanding of how their day-to-day work activities affect the environment. My department, which is utilities, also owns a grass reserve, which is a 23-mile version of the Florida Everglades. And I work with the Nature Center staff a lot. We create classes and trainings for employees to either do canoe tours, kayak tours, or hiking trails or hiking trips so they get a better understanding of the ecosystem and the wetland system. And I also work with our sustainability department, and they do a lot of lectures like saving energy and water and a lot of other presentations just to alert people of how to be more eco-friendly. And that's about it that I can share. So glad I could be on this call and hear some other interesting stories.
Thanks for sharing, Anise, about your work in a city in Florida. That sounds very interesting and very important. And I think the last person we'll have today comment is Abraham.
Yeah. Hola, hola. ¿Me escuchan?
Can you hear me?
Supongo que sí. Bueno, pues mucho gusto a todos. Mi nombre es Abraham
My
García.
name is
Soy
Abraham
cofundador y
Garcia.
director de una
I
organización llamada
co-founder
Kilómetro
in,
1. De hecho, en esta llamada está
in
aquí otro de
an
mis
organization
compañeros
called
cofundadores.
Kilometer One.
Somos una
We
organización
are
basada en
an
Tijuana, Baja
organization
California,
based in
México.
Tijuana, Baja California,
Somos una
Mexico.
organización de
We
conservación
are
marina enfocada en las
marine
afecciones y
conservation
soluciones de la contaminación plástica y el cambio
organization,
climático en el
and
océano.
also for
Desde hace 13 años nos hemos dedicado al tema de
plastic
educación
removal,
ambiental
and we
con
are in
escuelas tanto
environmental
públicas como
education
privadas
with
y
public schools
trabajamos
as
con el
well as
sector
private
privado
schools.
también
And we
para
work with the
buscar
private sector in
iniciativas y
order
mejores
to look for
prácticas en las
initiatives and better
empresas y pues ayudarlos a
best
migrar
practices in
a mejores
companies
prácticas, ¿no? En torno
and to
a una economía
take them
circular
into best practices in a
pues hemos
circular
empezado
economy.
a incluir
We
en otros
have
programas. Acabamos de lanzar
been
una
working in other
academia nacional
programs.
llamada
We
Generación
have
Sí,
a
en la que
binational
elegimos a
academy
jóvenes de entre 15 y
where we
18 años
selected youth
de San
from
Diego y de
15 to
Tijuana
17
para
years
formar parte de un
from San
programa de
Diego
10
and
semanas
Tijuana.
enfocados en resiliencia
It's a
climática. Nos acercamos a las
10
mejores
week
universidades y
program,
con los mejores
and we go
expertos
to
en
the
cambio
best
climático de la región
universities and
para
experts
que
in
aprendieran
climate
cómo
change in the
hablar del
region
cambio climático
in
no
order to
solamente
learn
a
how
través
to
de la ciencia,
talk
sino a
about
través de la
climate
documentación, del
change,
activismo,
not
de la
only
política,
in schools,
de
but also
carreras
to
que
talk about,
tradicionalmente no
discuss
siempre tienen el
climate change.
acercamiento, ¿no? a
They
estos temas
not
como las
always
ingenierías,
have
las arquitecturas, las mismas
they cannot
licenciaturas.
always have the
Hemos
facility to
querido
talk
incursionar
to
también
people who are in these
recientemente en
projects.
proyectos de restauración de
We
bosques de
have
kelp. Sabemos que
restoration
en México los
programs
corales son
in the
muy bonitos, ¿no?
reefs.
En
The
sur de
coral
nuestro
reefs are
país,
beautiful in our
pero
country,
desgraciadamente la
but
cultura de la
unfortunately,
protección
the
de
culture
del
of
kelp y el sentido de
protecting the
pertenencia con los
akil
bosques de kelp es
and
pues casi nula, ¿no?
the kelp,
Entonces,
I'm sorry,
hemos trabajado
and
ahí.
the forest of
En
kelps.
2018 tuvimos la
They don't
oportunidad de
protect them. In
participar con la CCA en
2018,
un
I
proyecto
worked
binacional
in
precisamente
2018, I worked with
enfocado en la
CEC
conservación de las cuencas
based on the
y de ese
conservation of water
proyecto salió
basins.
derivada
And
una
this
propuesta para
project
la
was derived
regulación
from a
y prohibición de la bolsa
proposal
plástica aquí en la
for
ciudad de
the
Tijuana. Y
prevention
pues nos da
and
mucho gusto
getting
seguir
rid of
sabiendo de la CCA.
plastic bags. And
Recientemente hemos seguido buscando
I'm very
formas de
happy to
participar con
continue
ustedes
knowing
y
about
pues
the
nada, esperamos
CEC,
poder seguir sumando
and
esfuerzos
we hope
y
that
pues
we can
seguir creciendo, ¿no?
continue
Después de
adding
13
efforts and
años,
to
también
continue
tener la oportunidad de
growing.
traer estas
I
visiones
also have
más
the opportunity
internacionales
of
que
having
nos da
these
escuchar todas
international
estas otras
visions,
grandes
and
iniciativas,
it allows
pues
us
nos
to
inspiran mucho, ¿no?
hear
Para
these other
traerlo y
initiatives,
aplicarlo en nuestra
and it's an
propia ciudad de Tijuana.
inspiration
Y
in order
pues
to
quien quiera,
apply all
cuando
these
llegue aquí a
programs to
Tijuana, con mucho
Tijuana.
gusto,
And if you
pónganse en
want to
contacto
come to
y les
Tijuana,
damos un
get
tour
in
por ahí.
touch
Nos
with
dará
us,
mucho gusto
and
seguir
we'll
sabiendo
give
de
you
sus
a tour of
proyectos.
Tijuana and to show you all of our projects. I'm sorry, he was going too fast.
Thank you, Abraham, for sharing. I definitely would love to come to Tijuana one day. So please put your information in the chat so I can connect with you if I ever want to visit. Okay, so we do have just a few more minutes left before we close. So I just wanted to take some time to ask some questions to Cesar, Dino, and Mariana about your project. We did get a lot of questions in the chat about your project. The first question I'll ask here is, since the drought in Monterey, they started to build new wells to extract water from the subsoil. Many of these wells were built in the La Silla River without the corresponding local and federal permits. Do you know what the status of this is, and if the health of the river and the millenary trees that have been there have been affected by these wells?
Bueno, sí, muchas gracias.
Thank you very
Sí, en
much.
verdad, el problema de los
The
pozos
truth
es un
is,
problema
the
no solo
problem
del
of
río
the
de la
wells
Silla,
is
sino de
not
todo Monterrey,
only a problem
ya
of
que
La
la mayoría de
Silla,
los pozos de los que
but
se abastece
also
en
of
Monterrey
the
son
whole
privados
Monterrey. All the
y
wells
no
are
hay como
private in
tanto
Monterrey,
control de parte del
and
gobierno,
it's
pero
lack of control from the government.
nosotros tenemos la esperanza
But
de que a
we
partir de
hope
su reciente
that
declaración del
because
río
of
de
the
la Silla
recent
como patrimonio, bueno, más
declaration
bien como área natural
of
protegida, se pueda como
Monterrey,
regular
La
esos
Silla
procesos.
is a
Sabemos
natural
que es un poco
protected
difícil,
area. We
pero
know that
trabajando un poco
it
con el
has been
gobierno, pues
named
podemos llegar
natural
como
protected
a
area,
un control de
but
estos,
we
de
would
estos
like to
pozos.
have more control of these sites. Thank you.
Thank you. And just another question. Have you already had approaches with the municipal government and the community to understand what steps are necessary to carry out a project of this type with the support and permission of the corresponding authorities?
Pues primero el proyecto sigue
First, the project
todavía en plan, pero
is
lo que sí
still
hemos
as a
hecho es
plan.
que primero
But
hablamos
what
con
we
el
have
IMP de
done
Monterrey,
is
que es el
we
Instituto
talked
Municipal de
to
Planeación
the
Urbana y
National Institute,
Convivencia de Monterrey, que son quienes
the
dibujan los
Institute of
planos
National Planning,
urbanos para
and
los siguientes
they
10
do
años de
the
Monterrey cada
urban
vez que se necesita un nuevo
planning
plan urbano,
for Monterrey
y
because we
con
need an urban
Sedena,
plan.
que estas son
And
las pláticas que hemos tenido
these are
hasta
the
ahora como para
conversations
poder
that we've
impulsar el
had with
proyecto,
them in
pero
order
en
to
sí
make
es difícil
progress in this
todavía
project,
ponerlo en
but it is
marcha.
very
Es una cosa
difficult
que
to
sabemos que
start
tomaría
this
años porque
project.
seguimos
It will take
impulsando.
years, but we will continue promoting it.
Thank you. And just a final quick question. are you considering rainwater harvesting in the interconnected parks?
Sí, es parte del
Yes,
proyecto,
it's part of the
justamente.
project. Yes, it's part of the project.
Okay, great. Thank you. So with that, we will close the event today. So as we wrap up today's youth gathering on climate resilience, I wanted to take a moment to thank all of you for your energy, insights, and engagement. It's been really inspiring to hear about all the projects that you're working on and hear from our speakers and the work being done in communities across all of North America. One of the key takeaways from the event today, I think, is that climate resilience is collective work, and it's really built through shared knowledge, collaboration, and the determination of people like all of you who are leading change in your communities. And again, despite borders, we are deeply connected by the land, water, and air that sustain us. And gatherings like this, I think, remind us that solutions can be strengthened when we work together. So if you have a climate project that you're working on or an idea that you would like to bring to life, I encourage you to connect with Lisa and Darcy at Live 360. They're here to support emerging climate leaders through workshops, resources, and mentorship available in multiple languages. So please don't hesitate to reach out and explore how they can help you take your work to the next level. I also encourage you please to take a moment to fill out our survey. The link will be put in the chat and also sent to you by email. Your feedback is really important in making sure that we're able to improve and continue to create meaningful spaces for connection and learning. And we will also be sharing the 3 presentations from the speakers with you afterwards as well. So thank you again for being part of this conversation and for your dedication to building a more resilient and sustainable future. And I encourage everyone to keep the momentum going, stay connected, and continue learning from one another. Wishing everyone the best in their climate action journeys, and please have a great rest of your day, everyone.